Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobby Capucci, and this is Daily Drop number 29. I apologize that it's a little late tonight, but I was watching UFC, and when the BMF title's up for grabs, you got to watch the fights, right? I won't waste too much time with any pre-commentary here. We'll jump right into it. First, we got a pretty funny article from about a Fox News guest invited to talk about military dogs blurts out Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. So we're going to dive right into this one, and we'll see what's what. A former Navy SEAL invited to talk about military dogs on Jesse Watters' Fox News show also offered some unprompted and unexpected thoughts about the death of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This article's already off to a good start. Called him a convicted sex offender and not a financier. Watters was finishing up his segment on Watters World with Mike Ritland, who is the founder of the Warrior Dog Foundation. The nonprofit is dedicated to finding homes for military dogs that are no longer in service and in need of a home. Ritland asked if he could offer a PSA about military dogs as news coverage swirls about the dog who helped take down ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. The remarkable nature of these dogs and them being highlighted in news creates a huge demand by people that frankly shouldn't have them. If you see the coverage and you decide I want one of these dogs, either buy a fully trained and finished dog from a professional or don't get one at all, Ritland said. Epstein didn't kill himself, he added. All right, Watters said, at first not apparently realizing what Ritland just said. Watters then started laughing and said, okay. Thank you for the commentary, Watters said, chuckling. Maybe more on that later. A medical examiner has said Epstein killed himself by hanging himself in his cell while he was awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. However, the circumstances of his death have resulted in swirling conspiracies about how Epstein would have died. So that's the first article. And that just goes to show you that this topic isn't going away anytime soon. People want answers. You have guys like this coming on to talk about military dogs blurting out Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. I mean, what in the hell? It's crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. This next article is a little more of a serious topic. And it's about the new lawyer in the Virginia Giuffre case. Well, we've discussed that David Boies and Dershowitz were embroiled in a battle between the two of them for quite some time, and they ended up splitting the baby, meaning that Boies was no longer able to work the case, but the case was going to go forward. So in a new article from McClatchy, D.C., it talks about the new lawyer that's defending Virginia Giuffre. All right, so let's jump into it. Alan Dershowitz wanted David Boies off the Epstein-related suit. A top lawyer has replaced him. A prominent conservative Washington lawyer has replaced his one-time Supreme Court foe in representing a woman who accused Jeffrey Epstein and his former defense attorney Alan Dershowitz of having sex with her when she was underage. Charles J. Cooper, who has represented former attorneys general Jeff Sessions and John Ashcroft, oh boy, two upstanding citizens, replaced David Boies, his one-time opponent in a California gay marriage case argued before the Supreme Court as a lawyer for Virginia Roberts Giuffre in her federal defamation lawsuit against Dershowitz. Boies and his entire team from Boies, Schiller, Flexner were removed from the New York case in October after Judge Loretta Preska determined that he had become a witness in the suit and, as such, could no longer advocate on Giuffre's behalf. The firm will continue to appeal its removal from the case, according to the Washington Post, but Sigrid McCauley, the Boies, Schiller, Flexner lawyer who first brought the suit, praised Cooper, who goes by Chuck, in a statement to the Herald. Chuck Cooper is an exceptional trial lawyer that will use the record and the evidence to advance the justice Virginia deserves, she said. Boies is among the highest profile lawyers in the country, who came to fame as a result of his ultimately unsuccessful work representing Al Gore in the 2000 presidential election recount, as well as successful effort teaming with Bush-Gore recount adversary Theodore Olson to overturn California's ban on same-sex marriage. But Giuffre's new lawyer is no stranger to high-profile work either. The Alabama-born lawyer is currently representing former Deputy National Security Advisor Charles Kupperman, who is at the moment resisting a subpoena from the House of Representatives Judiciary Committee as it pursues the impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump. I am honored to represent Miss Giuffre, Cooper said in a statement to the Herald. She seeks only justice for the monstrous wrongs done to her. She shall have it. That's promising. Look, I know David Boies is a high-profile attorney, but sometimes those kinds of high-profile attorneys aren't the best for these cases. How many times have we seen it in Gloria Allred cases? Sometimes you want a real lion, a real trial attorney, someone that's going to take this kind of case to trial and really hammer the defense. And I think that's what you're going to get with this new lawyer she has here. This seems to be more of a confrontational kind of cat. Chuck Cooper seems to be more of the kind of trial lawyer that you'd be looking for if you were Virginia Giuffre. Boies' removal from the suit came in part because of a secret recording made by Dershowitz of a phone conversation shortly after Boies began his representation of Giuffre. In that conversation, Dershowitz says Boies told him that he had told Giuffre that she was wrong, simply wrong, in her accusations against Dershowitz, one of the country's most famous attorneys and a professor at the Harvard University who achieved fame for his defense of O.J. Simpson among other high-profile clients. Look, I'm sorry to say it, but I find Virginia Roberts Giuffre more than credible. I believe her claims, and I think that Alan Dershowitz is using every trick he possibly can as a high-profile attorney to make sure that he skates. And I don't think it's cool at all. You want to talk about Boies had to get off the case because it was a conflict of interest. He's going to be a witness. I mean, this guy's implicated in Epstein's crimes, but he's still his attorney? Come on now. Giuffre said she was farmed out to various friends of Epstein for sex, not just Dershowitz. Dershowitz, who says he never met Giuffre at the time in question, much less had sex with her, told the Herald that he welcomes the change in lawyers. Yeah, I highly doubt that. This is typical stuff they say, right? Oh, let's show the poker face. We're not worried about nothing. We didn't do anything, so we're not worried about nothing, right? Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Dershowitz. I think you better lawyer up, buddy, because it's about to get real for you. And who knows what these other documents are going to show when they come to light. Who knows what other evidence there is. So I'd tread very lightly if I was Mr. Dershowitz here. I think it's a big plus for me, Dershowitz said. Cooper has a reputation of being highly ethical. My hope is that when he sees the evidence, he will be likely to see that I am telling the truth, and he will be hesitant to put his client on the stand. Literally none of that's going to occur. That's just a bunch of hubris and hubbub from Dershowitz. Cooper already has taken a look at this case. Do you think that this guy's going in blind? What, you're the only high-profile attorney around, Dershowitz? This guy has taken a look at all the facts of the case. He thinks he can win this case, and he's going to come to rock you. So you better be ready, and you better have your own high-profile team, sir, because this is going to be one of those situations that is going to not be good for you, I don't think, because I like I said, I find her credible. I'm sorry, I find her credible. There's other people that attest to these situations. She has times, she has dates, she has pictures. When you have that kind of stuff, that's called a credible complaint. That's a credible charge. All right? Not just some lady saying, oh, well, this guy did this to me 35 years ago, but I don't remember where. Nobody else saw it. Nobody else knew about it, but I want you all to believe me and ruin his life. That's not credibly accused. This is credibly accused. Dershowitz and his legal team, who have previously sought to have the case dismissed, are preparing their counterclaim again against Giuffre, which is due to the court on November 7th. He has repeatedly called her a serial liar, which he echoed again in his comments to the Herald about the change of counsel. That assertion is the basis of the defamation claim. A serial liar. So even if you didn't take part in this, you couldn't find something better to say about her? She's wrong. I didn't do this. It wasn't me who did this. It's horrible what Jeffrey Epstein did to her. But no. Instead, he becomes combative, and I don't like the way you're rolling, my man. Fix your roll, because that's not cool. Fix your face. Giuffre's allegations against Dershowitz first came to light after she filed an affidavit in 2014 seeking to join a 2008 civil suit brought against the federal government by several women who were sexually abused while underage by Epstein in South Florida. Epstein was a prominent financial manager who was friends with Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, and Prince Andrew. All right, let's just add Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. We can keep going. I mean, let's add everybody. Giuffre has asserted that she was coerced to have sex with Prince Andrew, an allegation the prince has denied. Come on, Prince Handsy Andy never did anything with anybody. Our good buddy Andy. Never been involved in any sort of untoward behavior. Folks, come on. How dare you? Don't ask those questions. Do as you're told. At the time of the 2014 affidavit, Dershowitz publicly attacked Joffrey and her then lawyers who sued Dershowitz. That suit was settled out of court with Joffrey's lawyers agreeing to issue a statement that the 2014 affidavit had been a distraction from the merits of the 2008 case. The settlement did not address the truthfulness of Joffrey's claims. The Miami Herald's investigation into Epstein's case, Perversion of Justice, detailed Dershowitz's role in helping negotiate a remarkably lenient plea deal for Epstein in 2008, with Epstein given immunity from sweeping sex trafficking charges in exchange for a guilty plea to state prosecution charges. What they don't say is that everybody involved got the same plea deal. It wasn't just Epstein, it was everybody involved. Nobody gets that deal. Nobody gets that deal. Mob bosses that turned rat don't get those kind of deals. Those dudes still go to jail for 10 years. But yet, if you traffic children, if you hurt children, if you hurt women, no big deal. You get a state charge. We're not even stick the feds on you, bro. You're going to get yourself a nice state charge. Well, I'm going to have dinner and drinks with the judge. Make sure everything's smooth over. All right? All right, cool. See you later. Meanwhile, me and you, arrested for fireworks. Taxed. Oh, you don't got a fishing license? Throw that fish back. You're going to the clink. A federal judge ruled in February that the deal violated the Federal Crime Victims' Rights Act because Epstein's victims were deliberately not told it was occurring. Epstein, 66, was found dead in August in his Manhattan jail cell 1 month after being arrested on new sex trafficking charges. The death was ruled a suicide, but Thomas Bodden, Michael Bodden, a noted pathologist hired by Epstein's brother Mark to offer his observations, concluded this week that the death looked more like a murder than a suicide. Okay, so they call him Thomas Bodden. Yeah. Okay, all right. Anyway, so there you guys have it. That's today's Daily Drop. We have a new lawyer on the case, Chuck Cooper, who is going to go hard in the paint. I think that Dershowitz better be very afraid and worried about what's going to come out in this case. At the very least, he better be worried about his professional reputation. He might end up never being able to be calling himself a high-profile lawyer after this. Then again, you know what? Who knows? Who knows? The way that these guys move, the way that they're moving funny out here in these streets, I have no idea, to be honest with you. You got Bezos, Gates, all these dudes hanging out with Maxwell and Epstein. Maxwell getting invited to the Clintons' wedding for Chelsea. But we're crazy. Don't ask these questions. Stop asking these questions. I mean, what are you, some kind of conspiracy theorist? I mean, that's what they sound like. That's what they sound like. Really, what we know, though, is that this is a cover-up, not a conspiracy theory. All right, folks. Enjoy your Sunday. I hope you guys, if you watch football, are going to enjoy the games. And we will be right back at it tomorrow night, holding MFs accountable.